So I've had some buyer clients where we ended up working together, but when we initially met, they were under the impression that it would be a benefit to them to work directly with the listing agent. Um, in the real estate transaction, you typically have two agents. One agent is representing the seller, and one agent is representing the buyer. And since the lawsuit, which a lot of people don't really know what the lawsuit was about and how things worked out, they just know that now the buyer may have the potential to have to pay their agent. So some buyers are feeling like it's better to work directly with the listing agent instead of having their own representation. And in some cases, it could be okay to allow the listing agent to represent you. But to be honest with you, in my opinion, it's always better to have someone that's 100% on your side, because the listing agent has a fiduciary responsibility to the seller, meaning like, you're my client, I'm working with you, I signed agreements and documentation with you to represent you fairly. They are supposed to represent the buyer fairly as well, but some things can get slipped through the cracks. Kind of think of it as if you were to be working with the listing agent and then you go into the inspection phase and you need things to be done, and the listing agent just wants to make sure that the deal closes, and they're probably not going to fight as hard as they would if they were representing you solely as the buyer. Or even with the appraisals, like there's a lot of hurdles that you have to overcome, and the best thing to do is to have someone on your side. If you were to go to court and you decided to use the other side's lawyer to represent you, how can you actually be sure that they're going to treat you fairly, 100% of the time? I even think about working in new construction. If you were to buy a new construction property, it's best to have your own buyer's agent. And the reason being is because the sales agent in the sales office works directly for the builder. So they're not going to go to bat for you like a buyer's agent would go to bat for you, because they're working directly for you instead of working for the builder. So in this market, even though you may potentially have to pay a buyer's agent to work with them, it's totally worth the money that you would have to pay, because they have your back. They're making sure that in every phase of the transaction that you are represented fairly, and you're not going to waste money or waste time in the negotiation phase, inspection phase, or appraisal phase, because they already are skilled and know how to represent you fairly. So don't not work with a buyer's agent. And at the end of the day, if you really think about compensation, the person that really compensates everybody in the transaction is the buyer, because the buyer has the funds that pays the seller, and the seller utilizes those funds to pay their agent. And in some cases, their agent will share a portion of the pie with your buyer's agent. So the money's coming out your pocket anyways. You might as well just have somebody on your side that's going to represent you fairly. So if you're in the Central Florida area and you need a agent that's going to go to bat for you, like when I tell you, like I will negotiate thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars off of the purchase price for you, you can contact me. My information will be on the screen above or in the description below. All right, bye.